you have no control.
This is a moment that you could change your life forever if you play it right.
So this is the last Twilight movie.
It's the final film in the franchise.
Twilight fans out there just cannot wait to see this.
Kind of the end of an era for you.
Huge part of your life coming to an end.
It's a little bittersweet, isn't it?
In some ways.
For them. Yeah.
Twilight star phenom Robert Pattinson.
Catapulted you to a different level of fame. We just saw what happened when you walked outside.
It seems like sudden, overwhelming fame.
It was overnight.
What do you do to escape the crowd?
It's completely ridiculous.
People follow me all the time. Seriously.
I had people waiting outside my house. I was losing my mind. I'm prone to paranoia anyway. I don't really like having my photo taken at all. 1 million pictures. Got 1 million pictures. Which is probably not a great thing if you're going to be an actor.
I suppose the argument is that you make a lot of money and it's the price you pay.
You've done all these huge franchise films. Are you Jennifer Harrison Ford's record? You're doing every franchise that's out there.
Franchise is a Burger King or a Subway. It's not an epic movie. As an actor, and I think it's you have no control. You get trapped, which is the worst thing that can happen if you want to be any kind of artist.
Robert Pattinson has given 5 whole years of his life to Twilight. But that was over now. The burning question was, what next?
Where do you see yourself in 10 years in regards to your career after this last Twilight movie?
This is a time where your choices are very important, professionally and personally.
Look, you're 22 years old?
Yeah.
It could go, look, you could go 2 ways with this thing, my friend.
Has anybody come up to you, though, and said, hey, at 2 in the morning, listen, you could have this kind of career if you just did this?
Does it worry you at all about being cast as a quote-unquote heartthrob and that kind of a thing?
I'm Edward Cullen. If you want to capitalize on something's success, it's weird. It feels like it should open up options.
Does that limit your options in a way?
It kind of narrows them down because you have way more to lose.
Do you anticipate your audience from Twilight coming across with you, or in a way are you looking to sort of end that relationship?
No, not at all. I mean, I never tried to get an audience in the first place. I mean, it's sort of just all been luck. I didn't even really set out to be an actor. I didn't even do drama, GCSE. I had zero interest in it.
No?
What
did they want you to do?
Nothing really. They wanted me to do my homework because I never did it.
I went to a very, very strict school, and then I got expelled from it, and I went to...
What did you get expelled for?
I was like stealing porno magazines, selling them at school.
Was it like a private school, she private school?
Yeah, and I'd sell them for a lot of money. When I got caught for it, it was when because I used to go in and like take like 1 or 2 and then put them in my bag. But I was in my school uniform when I was doing it, so it was kind of risky. But then he went to the school afterwards, and then it was but basically about a couple of days later, everything fell down.
Pattinson was never one to follow the rules or take the easy path. So when Twilight ended, chasing fame was not part of the plan.
What do you do right now?
I mean, I haven't agreed to anything yet. I don't even particularly like being famous.
Well, I'm not very scared of it going away at all.
But it is good for getting the jobs you want. And I'm trying to go for things which are sort of slightly dangerous. And that's the only criteria I really have. If seems to be a gap in the market for something, then I just try and do that. If you start doing stuff to please a certain audience, then you're going the wrong direction. I want a haircut.
Cosmopolis is about a 28-year-old asset manager called Eric Packer. He gets a kind of obscure death threat, and he starts to kind of intentionally unravel his own life.
But we still want what we want.
With your feet in the air and your
I want a haircut.
Let me just talk about the decision to take on Cosmopolis. Obviously, you've done a wide range of films, but you're known for some very commercial films. Was there a decision to do something off-kilter, a little bit not mainstream, but in a very visible setting like a David Cronenberg movie?
Do you need a haircut?
I need anything you can give me. So I basically called them up and said, I don't know what it's about, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know why you offered it to me.
Where is my mind?
Whereas a lot of actors who do franchises want to do like star vehicles afterwards. And I've tried really consciously to avoid that since I've done the Twilight movies.
And I said, you're the man I want.
Put a stick of gum in your mouth and try not to chew it. Why'd you want to kill me?
This guy is an unconscionably wealthy person.
You are foully and berserkly
rich. He has a skill with money, but not a significant attachment to it. He seems...
I'm losing money by the ton today.
Sort of happiest when he's losing it.
Many millions.
I have the same relationship with money, I guess, as I do with like success or failure. Like it's just imposter. I mean, it's just kind of, it is a fiction.
The urge to destroy is a creative urge.
Yeah, including the Cosmopolis, right? A lot of people started buzz about him in Cosmopolis, and then I watch it and I'm like, fish!
Well, Pattinson's Cosmopolis failed to impress at Cannes.
This is an interesting film, but I actually didn't think he was all that strong in it.
I love that movie. I've seen it so many times, and I think it's really, it's one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Robert knew this was the path for him. The problem was the rest of the world couldn't quite see it yet.
Be lucky to find Pattinson in a blockbuster these days.
And you've done a couple of really interesting films lately, The Rover, Cosmopolis. Is this a route that you're gonna, continue heading down with your career?
Well, yeah, I can't really tell the difference between mainstream and not mainstream movies, other than the fact that no one goes to see non-mainstream movies.
And when most people still saw him as...
You're that guy from Twilight.
That Twilight dude.
I hate that Twilight guy.
Oh, that's that dude from Twilight, I believe. I've never seen the show. Robert Patrick, or whatever his name is.
Robert Pattinson had to consider what he was really in this for.
I think it's impossible to think about what an audience wants. If you're doing stuff for the right reasons, just kind of challenging movies that, you're not doing it for just money or something, a kind of thin reason, then hopefully at least one other person will like it.
Has that been a deliberate strategy on your part to keep some distance from the mainstream?
No, I mean, I just think there's just a little bit more freedom. The lower the budget is, there's not so many investors who are who panic when you do something crazy on set. I saw a still from heaven knows what, an IndieWire. I don't know what it was about it. I was just like, I want to work with these guys.
One of the sort of most strangely impulsive decisions I'd made, I hadn't seen any of their work. I just saw one photograph from their last movie and basically sent them an obsessive fan letter. It's so rare that you get those feelings, and then so you just kind of chased it down to the end.
What was it about that photograph?
It was just instinct.
I remember talking to Josh and Benny at some hotel in LA, and I said, I want to do whatever you guys are doing next, I want to do it.
And he brought this explosive energy, like he really threw everything out at us in this meeting.
I remember Josh saying, do you mean that? Because I'll have a script in 6 weeks and we'll do it.
It was this kind of quest to be unseen in a way, just to disappear. And he's like, I really want to disappear into a world that you guys are going to create.
For you and me, the biggest invasion of our privacy isn't paparazzi. It's online. Here's the thing. Your data is valuable, and data brokers profit from it. You might not know it, but your personal information is being pulled, analyzed, licensed, and sold to companies across the internet as we speak. That's why I use Delete Me, the sponsor of this video. Delete Me finds where my personal info is exposed and deletes it on repeat. In my dashboard, I can see they've already scrubbed my data from hundreds of sites I'd never even heard of. And in a time when things like stalking, identity theft, and political violence are legitimate concerns, I don't want people profiting off my private life. Take control of your data with Delete Me and get 20% off all consumer plans at joindeleteme.com/Dodford.
It's just you and me, I'm your friend, right?
I love you, all right?
Film by the Safdie brothers, shot on the streets of New York. It's called Good Time.
It's the story of the relationship between two brothers who are losers from the get-go.
Excuse me, you Peter?
But we're supposed to have some affection for them, I guess.
Oh, shame on you,
Shame on me.
Definitely the definition of run and gun filmmaking.
Well, we're shooting a lot of it just on the street and stealing shots and stuff.
One is played by Robert Pattinson. The other is played by one of the Safdie brothers. He's hearing impaired because they want money. What do? They rob a bank.
What was that song? You're fucking incredible.
I was so nervous about...
You're incredible, do you understand?
People finding out about the shoot. And then paparazzi being there.
What's that in your hair?
I found some hair dye in your bathroom. Just destroys the whole illusion of it.
You dyed your hair.
Yeah. It's kind of a weirdo.
And shoot it, and then once you have one photographer shooting, then the general public around are looking at the shoot, and then everyone starts recognizing it.
We're leaving!
And then it's impossible to shoot. It would have been impossible to shoot the movie that I wanted to shoot.
Don't be confused. It's just gonna make it worse for me. I didn't really want to seem like, oh, I'm an actor playing a part, really.
Authorities are still searching for Konstantin Nikas, suspected of
Trying to disappear, trying to be a ghost in a crowd.
So how much time are you facing?
I had a lot of time to kind of...
Kidding me? Just asking you a question.
Just basically convince people that I kind of was that.
Why you gotta be such a fucking little prick all the time, man?
You know what, tonight, as fucked up as it is, I think something very important is happening.
Look at you, you're drunk as shit. Now you want to get real with me?
And it's deeply connected to my purpose.
You don't know what I'm talking about at all. Shot an entire movie on the street in New York, and not a single person even took a cell phone picture.
Go fuck yourself, man. I think you're better than me.
I think I was a dog in a previous life. In fact, I know I was.
I am better than you.
That's why they love me so much.
The film has received rave reviews and a 6-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival.
I mean, it was such a fantastic reaction to this film. How did you feel standing there at that time?
Robert, that must have been incredibly validating.
I'm so happy. I mean, especially for this movie. I mean, this is exactly where we wanted it.
British actor Robert Pattinson.
It's a long journey to get here as well, and I'm very, very excited to see it tonight.
The film is interesting for a number of reasons. Firstly, there have been a lot of reviews saying this is the film in which Robert Pattinson demonstrates that he really is, a brilliant actor, in which he loses his celebrity.
Oh, yeah, I loved your movie. It's really, really good. It's called Good Time.
And a lot of critics have said, well, this is the film in which he shows his mettle. My own feeling about it is this: I think Robert Pattinson has always been great.
I guess the highest compliment I can pay to you is if I had no idea who you were.
Is that weed?
Yeah.
It would never have crossed my mind that you were not from Queens.
It has no effect on me. I'm immune to it.
It is a absolutely full-on experience. You come out of it feeling really breathless and really knocked about. And yes, Pattinson is brilliant in it. That's not the surprise. The surprise is that the film is as good as it is.
Do you ever see yourself going back to more blockbuster, big budget type films, or do you prefer this?
And where you'd like your career to go from here on the basis of this success?
I don't know. I mean, I always kind of fool myself sometimes into thinking that there's some kind of macro plan to my decision making, but it's not.
I assume you're offered big sort of multiplex movies, are you?
Have you ever been asked to be one of these superheroes or anything like that?
Are you invited to wear lycra and have superpowers quite often?
Not a superhero.
No.
I've never actually auditioned for one because for one thing, you had to sign up to do 8 movies.
No, I don't think people really see me as that. Never say never, obviously.
I think Rob is just an incredible actor. I saw him in a movie called Good Time by the Safdie brothers, and he's so cool in that movie, so intense. And I thought, well, that really seems like a young Batman.
What's really interesting about you as an actor are the choices that you make.
I met Dylan Clark, the producer, about some other stuff, and when I saw on his IMDb that there was this kind of rumored Batman involvement. Mm-hmm. And it was the last thing I said in the meeting. I'm like, what's going on with the Batman? And he was just a little flicker of recognition, and I kind of thought, there's an opening there, and so I kind of kept pushing and pushing, and then eventually met Matt Reeves and loved him. He had a really interesting take on the character.
It's just a totally different vibe. I mean, it's sad.
Matt gave us a sort of idea that he'd like him to be a bit like Kurt Cobain.
He just tries to stay away from people. I can relate to that.
The first conversation I had with Matt about it, I just knew there was something radically different from anything we'd seen in Batman movies before.
It's something which I always thought about Batman. I thought it's really, really sad. It's a tragedy.
Batman movies have always attracted really, really good directors and kind of really good actors playing it, and it's got a legacy and a lineage to it.
This is Batman.
I find that really fun to try and find just a new way of doing something when, a lot of your heroes have played it before.
You look for things that kind of scare you, you look for things that feel incredibly out of reach. It's such the kind of the jewel in the crown of character.
Yeah, and then the terror kicks in. The beginning of the terror.
I think that really annoying combination of being very, very impulsive and then suddenly really hesitant afterwards.
I can't really think what anybody wants. You can't predict what an audience is going to do ever, really.
I really can't tell. I mean, I guess it's up to the audience to decide if it's mainstream or not.
And also doing something which is quite mainstream, but also edgy. I think it would kind of fit it into where I want my life to go.
There's another new controversy over who might be Batman. It's rumored that Robert Pattinson from the Twilight movies
may be in contention to be the next Batman.
If you think about it, it makes sense. He was a vampire, now he's a bat.
And considering how negative people were about Affleck's casting, how do you think they'll respond to Pattinson?
There are multiple petitions to try to convince Warner Brothers to drop Robert Pattinson. They say he cannot be Batman.
And when they think of Robert Pattinson, all they think of is Twilight.
That's it.
And they're like, the Twilight guy, kind of like when they...
There's a petition on the government website, change.org, about this.
Robert Pattinson as Batman, to me, I hope this is true.
Robert Pattinson's a great actor. He's also been working in the business now for almost 2 decades.
Yeah. I think the stupid backlash, and I went after people on Twitter for it.
Robert Pattinson has stayed quite busy making incredible films, showing off that he is a top 10 actor in the business today.
Spent the last, 7 years
making
crazy great indies.
Putting in his time. Why shouldn't he play Batman? He'd make a hell of a Batman. Bring it on.
Fear. I was absolutely terrified. As a tool. I haven't been this scared to release a movie in such a long time. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call.
It's funny, it's like as soon as you put on the suit,
it's a warning.
It sort of does something to you.
Maybe this is all coming to an end.
I knew where he was coming from in the slightly nihilistic.
What is?
Doesn't necessarily know that he's going to save the day.
The Batman.
He doesn't know if being Batman is going to work or do anything. He knows that.
But I have to try.
There is no other option.
Push myself.
As soon as you start thinking about
Why don't you come with me?
the choices you're making in terms of the future,
The bat and the cat. It's got a nice ring.
in terms of your career and stuff, you start doing it out of fear.
I'm starting to see now.
Try and at least attempt to do something which you care about.
I have had an effect here.
Please say hello to Robert Pattinson. I saw the movie last night. I'm going to begin by saying you are an excellent Batman. I know you...
Robert Pattinson is my favorite.
Other than that, Robert Pattinson was an amazing Batman. I probably have...
Robert Pattinson in particular, making for perhaps my favorite Batman I've ever seen on screen.
If I can't change things here, if I can't have an effect, I don't care what happens to me.
Was there any hesitancy in jumping into another franchise?
Is Robert Pattinson joining the DCU?
Robert Pattinson could be the DCU Batman.
Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson have also been talking about the sequel.
While director Matt Reeves has teased the prospect of a trilogy of Batman films,
it's now been delayed again to the year 2027.
Not with this at all.
We sign up for a prospective trilogy, which I really, really hope will happen. I mean, I did 5 Twilight movies, and it's kind of, it's from 21 to 26.
What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm... Our scars can destroy us. The bad guy. You are my life now. But if we survive them, they can give us the power.
I was like, this is a no-brainer.
And the strength to fight.
Are you kidding me, sir?
Is this the biggest job you've had, do you think?
Yeah.
You gonna let him in here?
And also, I'm glad I'm older. When I was younger, I don't think I would have been able to handle the pressure of it. But now, it's just been really, really fun and a really, really incredible ride.
It's exactly the kind of movie you want to be
working. I love this mystery that just getting like famous. Everyone thinks you're some kind of enigma afterwards.
God damn it, boy!
You get into it to do movies.
Listen to me!
I've never been interested in trying to sell my personal life.
Hate that Twilight Guy.
I don't like you. I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion particularly, and which is what I've realized over the years. It's just like, I don't care.
But I'm you.
The fact that I'm still getting jobs, like,
I'm gonna kill him.
that just kind of blows my mind, like every single day. I don't quite understand.
Surrender to me!
I'll be your guide.
I think I, by accident, sold my soul.
I feel like so lucky, like the entire time.
Like, there's not even a single element of me which is like jaded about it at all.
And it's been like really fun. I've had like a really fun life.
If every single actor wasn't afraid of trying to do something slightly abstract and not concerned about their movie making tons and tons of money,
You're already halfway there.
then eventually the industry would change.
It's a great thing about acting as a job as well.
I'll see you at the beginning, Fred.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years in regards to your career after this last Twilight?
It has the potential to completely change your life every single time. I hopefully will be feeling like I've developed as a human being.
I'm off.